Thank you. I'm going to ask the candidates for County Commissioner now. There seems to be quite a little concern about water in the audience. Given the recent determination of elevated nitrates in some of the wells outside the city limits, but located in the aquifer protection area, what is your position on the aquifer protection plan?
Tim Chestnut, Democrat, County Commissioner. I think the aquifer protection plan is coming along very well. We have had something in place since 1997 that has been guiding this county towards aquifer protection. We're trying to carry it on. This is a living document that will never end. We need to, it is the asset that we have here, the Casper Aquifer and the runoff. I think the studies that come out in the city these last few weeks talk about the septic tanks and not so much about the well heads and how the wells themselves are protected, because if you're putting fertilizers into your yards and your well, where the entrance to your well is not protected, that's going to do as much damage as any septic system failing also. We've come a long way. We have a water outsource coordinator, Barney Beeson, that checks these things, and he treats it. He's from Centennial, and he treats these things like every house is his own, and every little bit of contamination going into the aquifer is his own. So I'm so glad that is the asset of the county, is the people, and the people care about the water. And I think where the city is moving along on the water is symbiotic with what we're doing, and that is just one of the main issues, because that's what we've got here is crystal clean water.
Terry Kennedy, Republican candidate for County Commissioner. The nitrate issue that's come out in the paper, the CAP plan, it's a problem, and you have such situation with personal rights in those subdivisions out there. Maybe the county made a mistake, maybe the city made a mistake. I think it's both. Maybe with some of those things, I think we've got another one coming up that could be a problem. I think those houses should have been plumbed out with a septic system so that there would be a lead out on the streets so that everybody wouldn't have to tear up their yards and their trees and all of the stuff they've had for 50 years. And I think, there's a lot of things that could be done with planning and get this set up, because someday those septic systems will have to have discharge into a main line someplace. And if even use your septic tanks, if they're good condition, and take that water that comes out of that septic tank, and instead of dropping it back in the soil, it can go back into a line. It's cheaper for the city to process, or the county, or whoever's going to end up with this thing. But it's a big issue, and it's a hard issue, and there's not a lot of answers out there.
Hugh Lockhart, Democrat, County Commissioner. I think the city and the county have really gotten on the ball on this. I think they're really looking into it, checking it out, and done a very good job. I think subdivisions on the aquifer are continuing. I know I live north of town, and there's another one going in north of town. I don't know where it's at on the aquifer, but it's one on 9th Street. I don't know, if we don't stop the septic systems now, there's probably going to be a lot more problems down the road. And some people have I'm not sure about the Sherman Hill or the I-80 overlay thing they're working on, is if a truck turns over or something like that. I've had some people talk to me about that, and I haven't looked into it enough to know whether that is something that's viable or not. Thank you.
Pat Gabriel, County Commission candidate, Democrat. The story recently in the newspaper, the high nitrate levels, certainly a concern. There's a study going on right now with Tri-Hydro Corporation that the voters approved on the specific purpose tax to study the issue of Telephone Canyon, should there be a semi-rollover and some hazardous materials run down into the aquifer. And that study is to be done sometime in the fall, and we have $250,000 set aside that the voters approved to remediate whatever recommendations might be forthcoming from that study. So we're trying to plan ahead. We have the Planning and Zoning Commission about ready to finalize their study on the Casper Aquifer Protection Plan. It's been going on for a number of months now. They're about ready to finalize that and bring it to the County Commission. But as Tim mentioned, that document is ongoing. We've had that in place for a number of years, and it's always up for review. And so with the situation that we're looking at, certainly a concern. There's a possibility that we can go together with the City Council and fund a study to find out what really needs to be done in the outlying areas that border the donut area right outside the city limits, to find out what needs to be done to mitigate some of these concerns with the high nitrate levels. Next.
John Brinkman, Republican for County Commissioner. The high nitrate levels was a major concern for me. I understand, of course, that you're going to have development in the city, the areas within the city that are undeveloped just yet, as well as just outside the city in Sherman Hills area, for example. That's reality. It's going to happen. At the same time, the Casper area, or the Casper Aquifer Protection Plan, is a roadmap to responsibly develop these areas and respect the environment, at the same time allowing for development. So what we need to do is, and it sounds like the county and the city currently have a good working relationship on this issue, and that is they work together to address the issue of the high nitrate levels, figure out the solution, and then implement it. One of the voter emailed me with a concern that perhaps the city is overreaching into the county, and he is concerned about property rights and what happens if the county tries to overreach. I don't believe that's happening in this issue, but I think that we need, with working with the city, we need to ensure that we each respect each other's jurisdictional boundaries where that becomes an issue.